Hello and welcome. You're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live conversation web television. This is a platform where we want to engage all of you in our conversations through your posts, your audio and video comments, and of course your live participation. All you have to do is click on the participate button and you can take part in our conversations. Of course, you can tweet us your comments at #IndiaPostLive and our handle @IndiaPostLive. So Mary Kom, the biopic, is going to be hitting the theatres a few weeks from now, and I'm sure many of you are eagerly waiting for it. The Dirty Picture, of course, was entertainment, entertainment and entertainment. But biopics like Pan Singh Tomar and Shahid too were critically acclaimed. So are biopics the new flavour of Tinseltown? That is what we're going to be discussing. Actor Priyanka Chopra's portrayal of Olympic medalist and 5-time women boxing champion Mary Kom in her upcoming biopic has generated a lot of anticipation among movie enthusiasts. The success of films like The Dirty Picture, Pan Singh Tomar, Legend of Bhagat Singh, Shahid and Bhag Milkha Bhag among others has filmmakers scrambling for the rights of biographies of various personalities from all walks of life. So what is making biopics the new hit formula of Bollywood? Are biopics all today's youth has to draw inspiration from? Alright, so biopics, the new trend of Bollywood, that is what we're going to be talking about. Joining me in the studio is Mr. B. Divakar, a renowned cinematographer and professor at Jamia Millia. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, sir. We also have an online guest. He is Vivek Nambiar. Vivek Nambiar is content specialist with HT Media. Vivek, hi, welcome to the conversation.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, all right. Let me first start by asking you, sir, Divakar sir, what draws people to watch biopics?
I think, one of the facts is that the achievements of the particular character is very important, and it can't be ignored. Particularly, you see, in the case of Mary Kom, coming from a place like the Northeast, where hardly, women have always been very tough. Most women there, it is the women who actually run the house and make things happen over there.
Right.
But in between all this, she found time to go and practice her fisticuffs and things like that. It's amazing. And she came into the limelight only when she got the Olympic medal. Then we started going gaga over her, and she was invited for inaugurations and things like that, and she became the talk of the town. See, that is one factor.
Yeah, Mary Kom was a known person, right? But for instance, personalities like Pan Singh Tomar, not many people had really heard of him. Not many people knew about him. But Pan Singh Tomar, once the film happened, it gained so much of popularity, Vivek, through word of mouth. And everybody, said it's a fantastic film, and people began thronging the studios, the theatres. So, what do you think was the cause for that? Like I asked, what do you think? Your opening comments. What draws people to watch biopics?
See, I think people had always been attracted to biopics because this is, I wouldn't say this is a new trend, because there had been biopics made on Gandhi, Ambedkar, and all these films. So, and Farhan Akhtar, when Farhan Akhtar owns the character of Milkha Singh. So it's something huge. So when a huge star wants to, bring a character to life, so I think that is the first reason that people get interested. That's what people are more interested in, how much justice these people would show to the character. Other than that, when we talk about movies like Pan Singh Tomar with no huge cast to support, I think it's the genuine interest of people to know more about these people who, made a difference. That's what I think.
All right. Would you call Dirty Picture a biopic? Because there has been some sort of debate on that. Because, there are films like Guru, there are films like Chak De, which are inspired by.
I would call Dirty Picture
a true biopic,
because you see, incidentally, I knew her.
Okay, Silk Smitha.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I was in the industry at that time, and I happened to have done a couple of films, one of which was happened to be with her.
I see.
Now the point is that there were a lot of things in her life which people never knew about, and there was a lack of proper research in her case. Had it been really done, the film would have it would have taken a different shape completely. But they actually went only for the what was generally known, and from the kind of films which they had seen.
The sex symbol.
Yeah, the sex symbol part of it, and they highlighted that aspect only, which is actually so we can't call that a true biopic, but.
But even her loneliness, her insecurities were highlighted. I mean,
highlighted, but not to the not very convincingly.
Okay.
Because you see the problems that she was trying to grapple with were enormous.
All right.
And on that account, one would not. Actually, the only mistake she made towards the end was she tried and produce a film, and in that process, she got into a lot of debts and.
Right.
She couldn't face the thing.
So Milan Lutharia decided to take the easy way out and make a more entertaining film than a more realistic film. That's what
absolutely. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But see, there's one more reason as to why this keeps happening is also because of a lack of imagination and a dearth of good subjects in the industry. There are not many writers, who are actually churning out good, interesting
stories,
material.
Plots.
Now there's a huge starvation on this, and people are constantly looking for new material. So then the easy way out is to probably take a known person and try and pick things out of his life and then
weave a story out of it, weave a film out of it.
Now films like Pan Singh Tomar, the craft is very good.
Yes.
Incidentally, the cinematographer of the film, Asim Mishra, was my student.
Yeah, MCRC.
And he was good at his work, and he did a very good job in the film.
Yeah.
So the craft is there, so however good craft you have, I think with a bit of good craftsmanship, any biopic can be made to sell. And that's what happened. And also here in the case of Pan Singh Tomar, there was this this whole thing about dacoity and things like that.
An athlete turned dacoit.
Yeah. So there was this element on which the filmmaker encashed.
Vivek, let me ask you that what Diwakar sir just said. Do you think there is a dearth of good content, which is why filmmakers are really trying to scramble for stories and make biopics, scramble for characters and acquiring rights of biographies?
If I say no, that would be a lie.
Okay.
Certainly there is a lack of new content, original content that people want to see. And very recently Abhishek Bachchan tweeted that he would love to play Yuvraj Singh. So I think that is definitely there. But on the other hand, we can't completely say that there is no content at all, because there are good films like say very simple movies like Queen, which are doing wonderfully at the box office.
Yeah. So you're still saying that biopics is not really the trend, is it? Because I somehow have a different point of view. I mean, we are joined now in the studio by Nilendu Sen. Nilendu Sen is a film critic. Hi, and thank you so much for joining us.
Film critic. Yeah.
All right. We were just talking, when we spoke over the phone, we were talking of the 1965 movie Shaheed made by Manoj Kumar.
Yeah.
So biopics have always been there. But now you see this whole trend happening. Everybody is scrambling to make biographies.
You
are going to be taking a look.
You have to understand Bollywood. You see, once something succeeds,
yes,
for the next few months or a couple of years,
that's the flavor.
That is going to be the flavor. They're going to try out these things because if you see the size of these biopics, they're not very large-sized films, right? So it's a limited budget film.
But Bhag Milkha Bhag went on and on. Large size, by what do you mean by large size?
As a budget.
Budget.
Yeah, yeah. They're not.
Not even Bhag Milkha?
No, they're not. I mean, they're not in the, Salman Khan.
Oh, no, of course.
Bracket.
Yes.
So they are more or less smaller films. I mean, Farhan Akhtar acts in small films, but actually makes big films.
Right.
So if you see Laksh, it's a huge film, right? Which
Right.
is Farhan's film. But when he acts in these smaller films. And when small films give you about, if Ekta Tiger returns you on 150 crores, 300 crores, okay, so that's 100% return on investment.
Investment, huh.
But if a 12 crore film like Queen gives you back something like 80 crores, what would you want to make?
Yeah, I know what I want to make, yeah.
Right. You want to, I would, yeah, I mean, if I were a Bombay producer, I would like to make money. So, yeah. So,
All right, let me get somebody right now who's joining us, in fact, from Mumbai, Ayush Raina. Ayush Raina is a film director and he joins us from Mumbai.
Ayush, hi. Ayush is an old friend of mine
I
from
see.
Set Max.
Oh, lovely.
Ayush,
Great.
biographies.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Great. Old friends meeting on India Post Live. What could be better? Ayush, thank you so much for joining the conversation on India Post Live. We are discussing biopics, whether it is the new trend or not. Very quickly, your first comments. My other online guest is not very convinced that it's a trend, but yes, it is. It seems to be the new formula in town. What are your thoughts on that?
I remember the first film India produced, Raja Harish Chandra. I think it was very much a biopic. And I think it begins from the fact that filmmakers finally want to tell a story. And they want to tell the story of a character, his journey. And sometimes it's, you find these heroes in everyday life. People have some kind of an idea about these characters. And they probably want to know more. And whatever they've heard or read is either at academic, scholastic level,
Right.
or it's it's broken little events that you hear about them, which probably the news channels have picked up or the news has picked up over the years. You really don't get to know really about the the insights of that person. And if a filmmaker would really want to tell a good tale, and here already exists the journey of a man or a woman who's probably done something fantastic. It's a great opportunity to use that premise, to pick up that person, and then use the aesthetics and the sensibilities of cinema and bring alive the journey of finally, cinema is just an opportunity to tell a story.
Yeah,
and
but
if you get sorry, please.
No, please go ahead. No, what I was asking is, do you think that, what my other guests also pointed out, is there a dearth of good content? I mean, we've been talking about Queen, such a simple story, such a beautiful story, which really went on to do so well. But other than that, is there a dearth of good content? Why producers
I would say it's not as simple as a dearth of content. It's slightly more complex than that. Our dear friends in the studios are mentioning about budgets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The tool is very expensive. You want to tell better tales now, and that costs a lot of money. The better technicians come at a certain price. Now, if a filmmaker really wants to do a good job, he knows he wants to take on a certain kind of a budget so that he can tell a good story in the right manner. I know there are brilliant films which are made at shoestring budgets. Let's not get into that. I'm talking about mainstream cinema, which opens in 1,200 theaters and which has financial repercussions. If it is a tale like that and somebody wants to tell it well, it somehow is simpler to pick up the story of someone we already know of, bring that to the table, and begin to make it come alive, whether it is to an actor, whether it is to a studio. I think it could some way be leading from the fact that maybe content has been dubious. I would not like to spend more time on that. But I would like to add to the fact that we have done it in the past repeatedly. We've told great stories which have been inspired by real life people. You look at the West, You look at a string of films, whether it is Robert De Niro being a boxer in Raging Bull, or whether it is Will Smith doing a Muhammad Ali. They've been well-made films.
Right.
And if the filmmaker, using his sensibilities, using his craft well, can tell an amusing story, even if he uses something which is historical or a real life character, I think it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing.
What biopic are you working on, sir?
I wish I were working on a biopic, but the few people that inspire me, I think the stories have already been told.
Yeah.
Or the book rights are very expensive. So I think.
Okay. Let's talk about
Let me jog his memory a bit. If he remembers, we did a series together for Sony.
Yeah, the biographies.
They were biographies, and we did 26 of them. I think they were well-told stories. What do you say, Ayush?
No, we do tell our stories well. Indians
I completely agree.
But
and we had a great time doing
another
it.
interesting thing.
I would just expand on what Ayush is saying. Yes, biopics are good. Biopics are inspirational.
No, we're asking if it's a trend. It's a trend.
It is, you see, anything that, if you make 4 films of a certain kind, yes, by any means, if you look at global, if you see smaller countries or smaller film producing countries, of course you will brand it as a trend in that filmmaking milieu. But in India, where you make over 1,000 films a year, if only 4 films of a certain kind are made in 2 years, I wouldn't brand it as a trend.
Okay.
What I would say is that there is renewed interest in that genre of filmmaking.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Having said that, from day one of the films that we have been seeing, Raja Harishchandra is something that Ayush pointed out. If you remember, people like Himanshu Roy made Light of Asia. That was Buddha. Okay. And after that, Sant Tukaram and so on. It's rife with the inspirational bits. What I would like to see, even in this trend, are characters that fall in the grey shade.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
I do not see characters that fall in that grey area of
Mayor Charles Sobraj.
Charles Sobraj.
It's coming out now.
It's coming out now. I just hope it's true to Charles Sobraj's darkest sides.
Actually, that's the issue.
That is that is exactly
the elements of honesty.
Yes.
In the whole process, because when you have characters like that, then you actually need to see what have they done, and are the facts which is
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
what the public gets to know is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Naturally.
And,
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. What I liked about Bhag Milkha Bhag was that Milkha Singh is alive, and he would have been consulted on this thing.
Yes.
And he did not object to certain portrayals of the darker sides, which actually led to some of the problems that he had in his career. That was good. But Charles Sobraj is one. The greatest anti-hero that we have seen, I suppose, is the Bandit Queen.
Yes, absolutely.
Which has happened. Now, I would like to see a film like Bandit Queen or other films where the filmmaker is not completely sympathizing with the character also.
Right.
I'd like to see how how he looks at
even in a film like Bandit Queen, we don't know how much of it is true. Because you see, ultimately what happened was they never showed the film to her when she was still alive.
No, they did.
No, they didn't.
But this,
didn't you have a problem with?
They had a problem.
She had a problem with the book.
She had a problem with the book. She had a problem with the film, and they never showed her the film.
No, I am told by the lady who played Seema Biswas that apparently Poolan Devi actually walked up to her and said, your performance gave me the goosebumps, and she was crying.
Yeah, even
So
Mary Kom said that to Priyanka Chopra. Let me bring in Vivek
I
Nambiar
don't
here.
know. I'm
No,
not
but,
very sure about
Let me
that.
bring in
There
Vivek
is this,
Nambiar. Vivek,
it's a
you know, we are talking of Bandit Queen. Now, Bandit Queen was released in 1994. But don't you think that the audience has become much more discerning, much more mature, and they know when adequate research has gone into a film or not, and whether a lot of elements are being fictionalized and a lot of it is sticking to the honest facts?
Absolutely. With the growth of technology, everything is in our fingerprints. You type Bandit Queen, you get every info about the movie, about full movie, everything, and even unnecessary things come up. So I think in that case, the public would be more, what to say? I would call it empowered
Okay.
to know more about the story and the truth. So if say Milkha Singh was portrayed, I mean, was shown having an affair with Firang,
Yes. Yes.
so they'll readily Google it, and
Yeah.
the next moment they'll be sitting in the theater and googling it. Was this true?
Yeah.
So I technology uh, faking or
Yes.
saying wrong things to a movie would be less. It would be a risk actually.
All right. Let's take a look at some of the upcoming biopics which are in the offing coming out of Bollywood. In fact, we were just talking about May or Charles starring Randeep Hooda. Okay, these are the ones which are coming out. So many of them. Just take a look at that. I mean, I'm waiting for Ranbir Kapoor. I want to know how he plays Kishore Kumar. Vidya Balan playing MS Subbalakshmi. Narendra Modi, there's a biopic on him coming out as well. So, which is why, Nilendu sir, I was calling it a trend.
I see that Narendra Modi is being played by Paresh Rawal.
Paresh
He's
Rawal.
played that iconic role of
Yes.
Sardar Patel, which was
Yes.
Ketan Mehta's,
Ketan Mehta's,
film,
right,
which is
absolutely. So, you have all these films coming out, say Sarabjit Singh played by Anurag Sinha, Ramanujan by Dev Patel, The Man Who Knew Infinity, Dara Singh played by
I don't
Akshay
think
Kumar.
that's an Indian production.
It's a Hollywood.
It's a
Okay,
Hollywood.
it's a Hollywood production. Okay, Shah Rukh Khan, of course, Dhyan Chand, and Ayushmann Khurrana, Shivkar Talpade, Bombay Fairy Tale. Interesting. See, there are so many. That's why I was trying to call it a trend.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of times people announce a lot of films and they don't get
Yes.
How many of them actually
So,
get to be made?
Yeah.
how many
Yeah.
of these actually get to be made is still to be seen.
And would see the
But,
light of the day.
yeah.
But the fact that attempts are being made, even that.
No, the ones with the big stars will definitely get made.
Yeah.
Because the one with the film with Shah Rukh in it, for example.
Yeah.
And
So-
being made on Dhyan Chand, he is a
might,
hockey buff, so
He
he played
is.
hockey.
He
for,
played hockey, yes.
in school and
So it
college.
might get done. So there are a few of them which might.
Okay, let me just ask Ayush one question. Why is it that now we are seeing that there might be a biopic of Narendra Modi, but other than that, somehow don't you think filmmakers hesitate when it comes to playing biopics of political figures? Would you agree to that?
Oh, absolutely. That's you. While asking the question, you know the answer.
Yes,
Because
I do.
It's public profile and people who are running for office.
Yeah.
The interpretation of and certainly when you get into a public space,
Yeah.
especially you wouldn't tell a completely political story about that person. You would like to get into the nitty-gritties of personal life, of a love story somewhere. If it if you the way our filmmakers tell our stories, it's a complex thing. It's not so simple. And also the fact that I think it gets into a space which a politician would not be quite comfortable with. We if you can call the father of a nation a politician, then one of the greatest biopics we've all seen was
Gandhi.
Of
Sir
course.
Ratan Roy's, of course, and Gandhi.
Yes.
And but I don't know if that heroism and that kind of a stature for a politician in today's time exists, which is exemplary enough to be made into a feature-length story.
Right.
Ayush, there was
Yeah.
a film made on Rajiv Gandhi. The role of Rajiv Gandhi was played by Anupam Kher. It was produced by a guy called Ravi Yadav. from down south.
Ji.
He was a big producer in.
Ji, ji.
I think it was, if I recall rightly, it was directed by Selvamani, who was very big at that time. But the film never
Ji.
got to see the light of day.
It never got released.
It never got released. It got blocked by the powers that be.
Yeah, that's
Because, you know,
That's a risk.
That's the risk that you.
That risk is
and
always
So it's
there.
better to
so it is better
not invest in
avoid. Yeah, it is just.
You know, the
because
way
there's too
Meryl
much at
Streep,
stake.
you know, if you watch Iron Lady, the way Meryl Streep
Played Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret
Yeah.
Thatcher, that was such a bold.
And she did a lot of homework
Yes,
in
absolutely.
trying to emulate her.
Absolutely.
But then we don't know how
We
many
have to
of
wait
our-
for a few more decades,
Yes,
is it,
to see what
that kind of
happens.
maturity
Yeah.
from our politicians.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I mean, living politicians, when the film got made for Margaret Thatcher also,
Yeah.
she was not in active politics anymore.
yes.
Okay, so that was okay. Like Milkha Singh is no longer running. He is an icon. I mean, you
Right.
made a bad film. Even if you make a bad film on Milkha Singh, it's not going to affect any of his life. But what happens when you make a film about, say, Rajiv Gandhi, whose shadow, even at that point in time, was well alive over, say, the Congress politics, and making a film on Narendra Modi. And if you actually do justice to the film, if it's a sycophant film on Narendra
Exactly,
Modi, then
yes.
of course anything goes.
Anything
But if it is a definitive film on Narendra Modi, it will ask questions, it will ask uncomfortable questions, and that is when the problem starts
Right.
to arise, because he is an active
Politician, right.
I
He'll
think
try
it
to the nail.
It largely depends upon the filmmaker and his take on the person and what aspects he wants to
highlight.
project.
All
But you know what I mean, Devagar. I mean, if you want to see a film on Narendra Modi, you do not definitely want to see all the good things that he
Absolutely.
stands for. You obviously want to see the dark side of
The
the
dark
guy.
side of it.
And that debate rages.
Right.
It's a raging debate.
It is, of course, a raging debate, and the debate will continue through all your posts on IndiaPostLive.com. But Vivek, let me get final comments from you. Do you see this entire trend? I'm still going to call it trend. do you see this trend or this continuing interest, as Mr. Sen put it? Do you see that continuing for in the next few years?
Definitely. Because I already mentioned, Abhishek Bachchan has said that he would love to play Yuvraj Singh. So this trend would go on, as
Right.
Ayush rightly said.
Yeah.
It is more easy to get stories of known people.
Even if
And-
they were infamous, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And so it will get an extra mileage of the movie that it's this person's story that's
All
being told.
All right. Thank you so much, Vivek. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining the conversation. I would like to get my final comments from Ayush. Ayush, you said you would love to make a biopic, but the book rights are expensive. So which character did you really have in mind? I'm not going to let go of you that easily, you know. I'm going to keep hounding you.
If I mention the person, I bet the book rights are going to get even more expensive. But I would like to add that the audience is now ready. It's an audience which is willing to, they want substantial cinema. And if it is engaging and amusing enough, then I think these are great times. The studios support good cinema.
Right.
And the people want to see good films. That's why, those numbers are now going to crazy levels. We hear 200 crores and 300 crores and mainstream budgets are put into these films.
Right.
But that's a good thing, because a biopic finally is an expensive film.
Right.
It's about the right costumes. It's a period drama at most times. It needs, a lot of other support. So being an expensive film, you need to tell it well. You need to tell it in the genre of the mainstream.
Right.
And I think these are good times. And I think there'll be a lot more biopics coming.
Great. Ayush, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comments. Final comments from you, sir. Do you think since we people don't get too much of inspiration from leaders inside the parliament, one has to go to cinema halls to watch good movies and watch good personalities and get inspired?
There's no harm in that.
Of course.
As long as it's they inspire and they can multiply, and that's ultimately, I think, it will add to the health of the nation.
what Ayush said, Ayush talked about making it well. The good craftsmanship of filmmaking also needs to be it's a very integral element. For example, the film Bose, the Forgotten Hero, made by Shyam Benegal, it got critical acclaim, but somehow it did not do too well in the box office, if I'm not mistaken.
Because it was a typical Shyam Benegal film.
Shyam Benegal films are, I mean, Shyam Benegal has never made a film targeting the box office.
Yes, but you know, Subhash Chandra Bose is still an icon.
Even so.
Even Gandhi, My Father, even that film, again critically acclaimed, but did not make the big numbers.
Yeah.
See, they didn't touch the, I mean, even the film on Bose, he just skirted the issue. The controversial elements were all not touched at all.
Okay.
So, you see,
so people want the actual thing.
They want the actual thing. You see, again, people like Bose and all their icons, and when you make a film on them, you have to ask why Benegal, because, you know, Benegal is almost the high priest of making these kind of films, which nobody questions, right? There was a time that Amal and Nisar Allana on television did a series on Netaji, and in one sequence, I think Netaji was seen sipping a drink. There was a furor in Parliament, and that whole
again the whole immaturity
series
and the
was
whole
pulled down,
right?
And you know, I mean, it was like some sort of a sin had happened.
Right.
Now we deify these
Blasphemous.
characters.
So do you still think biopics will survive? Biopics will continue to happen, as Ayush and Vivek said. Yeah.
They will certainly survive undoubtedly. But then, you know, we have to, these are the little risks. For example, if you make a film on Modi, then you see the entire BJP will come up in arms. So these are all, you know, this is constantly there. But despite that, I think they should continue to do it,
right?
Because it's a fantastic thing to do.
Great.
Of course, they should do biopics. Absolutely, they should do biopics. But I mean, I get a little bored by seeing good guys all the time. You know, I'd like to see.
Yeah, so I'm sure you're waiting for Mayor Charles, and I'm going to be waiting to read your review on Mayor Charles.
Mayor Charles, I don't know who this mayor is, but time was that Dibang was part of the organization that I used to work for, and we have a fair idea about Charles Sograj. And
Dibang has acted in this film.
No, he hasn't, but there was this huge controversy with Dibang at one point in time while he was at Illustrated Weekly. After that, we kind of worked together. But yes, Charles Sograj, yes, Aurangzeb, yes.
Okay.
I would like to see
characters with
characters with the grey, characters with the grey, characters who've been painted in a certain way by history, by people who wrote history, but there could be a flip side to their characters. I would like to see a little more of that Ajat say.
So biopics,
actually that would be like rewriting history.
Yeah, in many ways.
It needs to be, because you see the politicians who came, and also in the subsequent eras, you know, the history has always been written according to what they wanted to be written and what they wanted to tell, not the real.
That is, of course, another raging debate
that is
all over again. That's happening right now. All right, so biopics are here to stay, says my guest, says all my guests, both my online guests as well as my studio guests. I would like to thank all of you. Vivek, Ayush, thank you so much for your insights, and thank you so much for participating in the conversation. Of course, Mr. Nilendu Sen and Mr. B. Divakar, thank you so much for participating and talking to us. The conversation continues on IndiaPostLive.com through your posts, your tweets, and of course your audio and video comments. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.